What's going on, guys? Zach here from the Landscaping Podcast, powered by Landscaping Unlimited. I am happy to welcome you to another episode I will be rolling solo on. And it makes sense because we're pretty much going to dive into my world, and that is the digital division of Landscaping Unlimited. So we're talking social media, we're talking content creation, we're talking about all the things that you're seeing on a screen more so than you're seeing out in the real world. And so while we got the hardscape teams and the landscape teams out in the world doing their thing, absolutely crushing life in all the projects that we have, well, we've got me trying to capture that story and all right, I had to collect myself there. Shay sent me a message because I'm going solo, and originally we'd planned to record an episode together. And so it was pretty funny that he kind of just felt left out on this one. So shout out to Shay. Brother, I miss you. We'll record another one together. But I figured I would hit this one. That way we could get it knocked out. So if you're listening to this episode, which I know you are, shout out to you. And for everybody listening, shout out to Shay Brickhouse, who's here in spirit. But he's not here next to me because, again, we're talking about my world. And I want to dive right into it. And so with that, I don't want to talk to you about this from the lens or the perspective of trying to be an influencer. Like, I want to be very clear right out the gate what it is that I am talking about and what it is that I'm not talking about. I am not talking about being an influencer. I'm not talking about chasing views. I am not talking about comparing yourself to other people and trying to be like them. I am not talking about looking at other landscape companies or hardscape companies or in your industry. Like, understand this. Whenever I say stuff like that, whenever I say, hey, in the landscape industry, the hardscape industry, well, if you're a hairstylist or if you're, I don't even know, insert anything, in finances, if you're in law, paralegal, whatever it is that you do, you're a carpenter, like it can be blue collar, white collar. It doesn't matter what it is. When I talk about my thing, you need to picture your thing. And so when I say that I don't look at other landscaping companies and see they put out 17 reels a week, so I need to put out 18 reels a week. What I do is I look out and see what they're putting out. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool content. I really enjoy that. And eventually I'll see one that I'm like, oh, I like how they did this. Meaning, and again, I'm a storyteller. So when I see somebody's reel or somebody's post or somebody's picture and it tells their story in a certain way, those are the ones that stand out to me. Like, I don't care how many followers you have or how many likes it got. If it got one like, but it got my attention, I'm going to pay more attention to it. Because why did it get my attention? Usually it's because it's delivering an authentic message. I very much appreciate and respect authenticity. You know, that's important to me. And so for you, I want you to look at it from that same lens. You know, when you look at things online, don't do so from an angle of trying to compare everything. Don't look at it as like they have more followers than me or I've got to do this many because I got to stay ahead of them. That's not what this is about. And so now that I've told you that it's not about being an influencer, it's not about chasing likes or views or things like that, I'm not trying to be the next person out there. Well, let's talk about what this is. So landscaping is inherently a very like physically defined career or job or profession. You know, it's what we build here in Eastern North Carolina. And oftentimes word of mouth is how we get the next job. And so how are people in West Virginia going to know anything about what we're doing here in North Carolina? How are people in California going to know that? Canada, Mexico, Russia. I don't know how far around the globe I want to go, but you get my point. These people find out about you and what it is you're doing when you decide to enter like the public forum of the world, the global forum that's TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, things of that nature. When I look at social media, I view it literally as this is media, like marketing, like advertising, storytelling, letting you know who we are socially. Letting people out there talk about it. Let them see my videos. Let them see the photos. Let them talk about it, chop it up, send it back, share their opinions. You get to have a discussion, even as a landscape, hardscape company, and again, insert your profession, you get to have a conversation with people you otherwise never would have crossed paths with. You get to meet people who are of like mind. They're also interested in growing the green industry. They're also interested in adding their voice to that discussion that's being had. And that's the thing that stands out. You know, I firmly stand behind Shay and his father's mission of supporting the green industry. I love what it is we do. I enjoy this career. Like I'm in our office now. I'm looking at landscape plans. I'm looking at our whiteboards. This stuff motivates me. And I feel very privileged to be in a position where I can tell the story of Landscaping Unlimited. You know, and so for you in your profession, you enjoy what it is you do or else you shouldn't be in it. And so if you enjoy what it is you do, then maybe it's time for you to share that story. You know, if you do home security or if you do personal security, if you're a singer, if you're, you know, a music teacher, you know, why are you not putting that out there? Is it a fear of judgment from others? Because I have to ask the question, if you're afraid others will judge your work, is that stemming from a place where you know that your work is inadequate? It's not up to par. You're not doing the best way that you should be doing? Because that's the only angle I could see where it makes sense not to have the discussion, not to share what it is you're doing. Because you know that somebody's going to call you out and doing it the wrong way. And if you know you're doing it the wrong way, why aren't you fixing it? I told Shay early on, I was like, hey man, like as we continue, like I'm sharing this in 4K. So if somebody sees us doing something shady or if they see us doing something where we're cutting corners, they're going to call us out on that. And his response without missing a beat was perfect. He said, good. They'll help us get better. And I was like, dude, this is exactly why him and I get along. It wasn't a negative. If somebody points out that we're not doing something right or we could do it better, we work on that. A perfect example that comes to mind immediately is when we talk about communication and we talk about striving to be the best communicators and put ourselves out there and make sure our clients know where we're at and what we're doing and being transparent. Well, we missed the mark with one of our clients. They just slipped through the cracks, and they slipped through the cracks a few times, to be honest. And it's because we had a lot going on, but none of that mattered. We didn't do what we said we would do. And so when that customer called us out, and they actually did so in a very respectful manner, they sent us a message and they told us like, hey, I'm going to go with somebody else, and here's why. And I'm not going to blast you online. I'm not going to say anything like that. But I wanted you to know that I am going with somebody else, not because of the quality of your work, but because I didn't feel like I was being heard. The communications lapsed for too long. The first thing we did was go on a podcast and talk about that. We did not hide from what happened. We did not just brush it aside. We went there. Shay personally went there, shook the man's hand. He had gotten him a gift card. That way they could go out to a place that offers great service because we wanted to show them we also value great service. And he said something that will stick with me the rest of my life. He said, I want to be able to see you in a store and keep my head high. Basically, Shay was saying, I screwed up. I accept that, but I want to make it right. So the next time I see you, there's not some weird grudge or we feel weird about each other. It's that we're men, we've shaken hands, and we're squared away. You called me on something that I need to improve upon. I recognize that, I accept it, and I will improve upon it. And that awareness, that acceptance, just that mindset of going about it and not trying to hide from the flaws, but rather finding them and making them better. That's what I love about this business. That's why I work here. But to bring that to the social media aspect, that's a part of why I love sharing our story, because we're always looking to get better. We are always looking to get better at our landscape side of the house, our hardscape, our business side, our leadership side. We're always just looking to be better individuals at everything that we do. And a large part of that has come through somebody that wants to tell the story. That's how you guys are hearing this. That's why there's a podcast in the first place. That's what I do. That's what Shay hired me to do. That's what I'm doing with this business. I'm happy going outside and getting in the trenches and getting dirty and digging things up and whatever, getting wet, muddy, sweaty. I'm cool with all that. I'm very comfortable in nature and everything that comes with the elements. But in my heart, I've got this skill set. I've got this calling, if you will, to just capture things. That's why I enjoy photography. But I also write. I run a Substack called the Daily Draft Newsletter, where I'm writing articles all the time. I've got a series going right now where I'm talking about sobriety and sharing that story. You want to talk about something personal and sharing what could be perceived as like something you should hide? I'm sitting there talking about why I don't drink alcohol. So I'm using the camera. I'm using the pen. I use my voice. I love talking about things. I like to tell stories. And when I first worked here the first time, I had told Shay, I really want to tell the story of Landscaping Unlimited because I don't think people really know what it is we're doing. They think, you mow lawns, maybe you do some brickwork. But in all reality, we do everything. And that's not just words in a sentence that says the possibilities are unlimited under our brand, our logo. It's literally how we operate. And now that Shay has his general contractor's license, his builder's license, we do everything outside and inside. The possibilities really are unlimited. So it's pretty ridiculous. But once I started sharing that we can do plants, overhauling all of your plants, taking them out or putting them in, we can do walkways. We can do commercial projects, large commercial projects like car washes. We had a plasma center put in. We did all the landscaping and the irrigation around that. That we can do the irrigation, that we can do these walkways and these huge retaining walls, that we can now dig out and fill the foundation for a house, that we can build you small buildings, big buildings, whatever you want. The fact that we can do all that and now it's seen in 4K, somebody's sharing the picture. But not just that, explaining the picture by writing about it. And then let's pause right there and go to the next level. Also talking about the people that are doing it. There's a reason that I highlight all the individuals on our crew. And when I see them running around doing their thing, I give them a shout out. And all the stories I talk about how these men are doing great work and how it takes a lot of thought and a lot of awareness and a lot of strength to be able to think about everything that goes into a landscaping project. These men are doing it every day. You think that mowing a lawn and trimming bushes is easy? Go do it. Go do it for 250 plus acres of a property you've got to maintain. Let me know how easy that is. And let me know if you can do it for more than a week or 2 weeks. You're going to find real quick, you've got to be smart. You got to have people skills. You got to have resilience. You got to be able to handle the elements. You got to know how to operate the equipment. You got to know when to stop operating the equipment because it's making a weird noise. You got to be able to do preventative maintenance, corrective maintenance. There's so much that goes into it. And when you've got somebody with a camera who's recording video and taking photos and then writing about it, you're letting other people see inside your world. And that is the business side of this. We'd love to talk about the connection and the social element, but look at the business side. How good does it look for potential clients to see the workers that they're going to be hiring, to see the jobs they're going to be doing? Instead of just picking somebody random online, you can actually go and be like, I know this man. I know what he stands for. I know what he's about. I know his views on life and where he's going. I know what kind of men are going to show up my property. I know what their goals are. I know that they've shared they're going to do things the right way. It might be more expensive, but it's going to be done right. It's going to last longer. I know that these men are licensed and they've got the certifications. You're getting to know the people. And on the business side of the house, that's a great decision. Because guess what? You don't want random strangers showing up at your house that you don't know anything about, and then your wife is feeling uncomfortable or you're feeling uncomfortable or whatever the case may be. It's important that we understand the power of social media goes well beyond, dancing on TikTok or chasing follower counts. When you can find the right person online, you can connect with that. Like, there are times where physical proximity would have prevented that from ever happening. But you might find or make a partnership or a connection with somebody that's thousands of miles away, otherwise never would have met them. And they become your best friend, or they become the best resource for your business, a future partner, or just a network that grows. And I think people seeing what it is we're doing here are understanding like, hey, something's going on in Eastern North Carolina. There's something going on in this company over here. They've got all this social media work going. They've got these videos. They've got all these articles being written. They've got a blog. It's not a bunch of 40-plus-year-old men chasing 22-year-old young men who are out there doing things in the world trying to be influencers. It's a bunch of professionals in the blue-collar industry who are working to do their absolute best to provide the greatest service to their community, and they want to share with others how they're doing it and why they're doing it. And when you think about that, and you think about people who want to see the crew, they want to see social presence, they want to see the equipment, they want to see the finished work, you start to get a real picture as to what it is that's going on. You can now transcend that through electrons. That's what the power of social media is. Same thing with AI. People that are afraid of it taking over, it's like, you've got to learn how to use this. We have learned how to use social media to our advantage to share our message and share what it is we are doing and who it is that we are. And the relationships that are being built from this, like a retired Navy captain who's a pilot, Captain Turner, who went by T. T would say life is about being a shipbuilder. You've got to build relationships, you've got to build friendships, and you've got to build partnerships. And I've used social media to be the ship that I'm going to build all those ships on. That is how Landscaping Unlimited is going to be seen and introduced to and get recognized by those who are well beyond the scope of just the Eastern North Carolina region. We can service east of Raleigh, south of Virginia, north of South Carolina. We can service all that. We can service anywhere if you're willing to pay for it. But the reality is not everything has to be a client building something for a situation. Oftentimes doors are open because you get to meet somebody who understands and sees the vision that you see, and they can help you out in a different way. Or maybe we can help them out. And so when we're sharing this story, it might be a kid in Indiana who's sitting there wondering if he's going to make it because he thinks landscaping is a seasonal job, but he loves it. And then he hears a podcast that says, no, man, this is a career. You can make this work. And you know what? We're willing to answer any questions you have. That kid in Indiana reaches out to Shay, and he's going to get guidance from an individual who's a professional in this network, and years down the road from him, and he can help him without having ever have known who he was prior to. You can change somebody's life. It's incredible the power social media has offered us, and I think it's wasted and almost taken for granted because we've had it for so long. Facebook for the longest time was like for college kids, and then Twitter was like the short form, like you got to be smart, and it's only for people who wanted to read, and then TikTok straight up just dancing. If you're not twerking, you're not working. Like gone are those days. Or maybe I'm just getting older and it's gone those days for me. I don't think I was ever twerking, but no, I don't think. I was never twerking. But I will say using social media just to write, to talk and all those things kind of waste time. That's over. And I've gotten older, and so there's a maturity level to that. But I also think there's always been this understanding that this is a great place to tell stories, and that's where I want to tell my stories. And so if you're a company that's looking to do this and you've tried and you dabbled in it, understand like this isn't about building traction fast. It's not about like exploding and going viral and getting all these followers. It's about who are you and why is that story relevant? Like, why do we care? To me, that's easy. I love what I do. I want people to see what I do. I want them to love what I do. I want everybody to see the green industry as a professional network. I don't want them to see it as a fallback plan or a seasonal job. Like, my why is very clear and I've been open from the beginning. This is all about the people to me. I see Shay and what he's doing, and I want that story to be told. I see the men and how hard they work, and I want people to recognize that. I see how much thinking goes into this job where people stop thinking that it's what you do if you're not smart. So there's so much more to, like, I tell that story even if nobody's listening. I don't care how many likes I get. I'm not trying to go viral with this. I'm telling you what it is I'm doing because I like to tell stories, and we're alive. Why aren't we going to start talking about what it is we're doing? It's not all about external validation and the likes and the shares and the tweets and whatever. What it's about is the fact that you're here. So just start talking about what you're doing. Don't go and chase these metrics. Like, it's difficult because you want to get better and you want to perform better and you do want to grow, but like that can't come at the expense of who it is you are, why it is you started this. I started this to make people aware of what Landscaping Unlimited was doing, and then the growth and all that's happening after. Like, that's a byproduct. The main product is sit and share the story. I'd be doing this if we had no legs. I would continue to do this. I've shared with my photography for Z Photography and Media. I would be taking photos for myself if nobody else wanted photos. If nobody booked me, I'm still working. Same thing with Landscaping Limited. If nobody was booking us or like engaging with us online, I would still be sharing our photos. I would still be sharing our videos because I'm doing it for us. I'm not doing it for you. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. Like, this is what I was brought in for because this is what I'm passionate about. Like, this is the smartest thing for me to do because it's the best thing I'm good at doing. I'm not going to out landscape our long crews, and I'm not going to out hardscape Shay and our hardscape team. And none of them are going to out storytell me. We all have our skill sets on this team. That makes us good. It's like if you take any military unit, if you give everybody a machine gun, they can shoot a lot of things, but that's only going to work in a certain area. So why do you think you have a medic? You got a team leader. You've got somebody with a rifle. You got somebody with a sniper rifle. You got somebody with explosives. You want to be able to do all the things. You want to be like a Swiss Army knife of a unit. Everybody can do everybody else's job, but it's like you have a main job in that. And so this is my main job. And I think if you were to apply this to your company and start looking at how you could share your story, you would find great satisfaction in that as well. And if you find the right person to tell the story, you're going to see the feedback. I can't tell you how many times people, just now, I went to lunch with my wife. We met at the grill, so shout out to the operators there. So I had lunch at the grill and was walking out. A dude said, "Hey man, I really like your videos." I didn't even know who it was. He either saw my hoodie or he recognized my face. I didn't know who he was, or if we've met, man, I'm sorry. Like, I forgot your name. But the point is, people see this. He might never have liked or shared anything, but in there he's like, "Hey man, I like your videos." And to me, that's important because I don't know which video, but I know he's watching them. And I know that all of my videos are geared towards showcasing what it is we're doing. And so therefore, how awesome is it that people are seeing Landscaping Unlimited? Like, to me, that's everything. And so when you look at it, like from the lens of, well, how can you take this and apply it? Well, stop thinking that you've got to build out this whole marketing department and that you've got to start like doing this whole like major campaign to jump on Facebook and run ads or go into all the social media platforms and get crazy and try to monetize YouTube as quick as possible. Like, those are cool targets. But again, do you really have the resources to do that right now? Like, are you really willing to dedicate the time required to have a successful social media outlet? Because it does take time and energy. Like, I'm fully committed to this. Like, this is what I do. And so I'm not a department. I'm one man. But I'm one man who knows how to speak. One man who knows how to record audio and put it to video. One man who knows how to record video and edit that video. One man who knows how to take photos and then edit those photos and then do the before and afters. And I can go to the sites and I understand what's happening with all of the guys. You need to have somebody that understands everything so they can tell the story the best. And those videos of your real work, people will see all that goes into it. So then they're going to understand the pricing behind it. When you share your story, people will better understand you. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's 2026, and the businesses that are going to win, over the next 10 years, they're not necessarily those who are the best at what it is they do. They're those who have connected with the most people and have found a way to utilize social media and AI to their advantage. So let me say that again. You don't have to be the absolute best at what it is you do if you're able to share your story and let people know why they should choose you. You may not be the best, but you're the nicest, or maybe you're the most on time, or you're the most, reflective of their morals and values as to who they are, and therefore they're going to book you. You might be younger, you might be older, you might be a man, you might be a woman, you might be black, white, Spanish, Chinese, whatever the reason is, people will have their preferences, and that's a beautiful thing. That's what makes America amazing, is you get to choose. You have the freedom to choose who it is you want to work with. And so when you share your story and people better understand you, you're going to find a lot of people like you. They like the way you do things, and that builds a trust. And that trust creates familiarity. And social media, when it's done right and consistently, that's how you build familiarity with people who've never met you. It's not about being an influencer. It's about being a smart business individual. You got to be savvy with this. You're trying to show them who you are consistently so they know, hey, I trust this guy, even though they don't know who you are. They know they've seen you on videos. They've seen you talking to other people. They've heard you run a podcast on fatherhood or marriage or business opportunities or how you deal with failures and setback. All of these things combined is how they're going to make their opinion as to who you are and whether they want to work with you or not. And at the end of the day, sales come in when those who are authentic and they trust what it is you're doing because they believe you've got their best interests in mind. Think about all that. Chew on it. Think about the role social media could play in your field. And if you have any questions, again, this is what I do. And so I would happy to answer any questions that are on this. Drop them either in the podcast comments or in the YouTube comments or whatever it is you're watching this on. Drop your comments on there and I'll engage and I'll kind of help you get yourself set up. But don't overlook social media or think that it's a young person's game. Like, this is a smart business decision. So be a smart businessman or woman and go make the decision to start telling your story online and connecting with people beyond just the physical proximity that you're confined to. You are allowed to break out of your geographical, prison that you're locked into because there's only so many hours in a day. There's only so much you can go out and do. But when you've got a video online or you've got a story that you've written online and you've shared that, you're going to find yourself connecting with people when you're asleep because they're waking up because they're in a different time zone and they read your story and they're interested. They start to follow and they follow along. Then they send the DM. Shay and I are looking forward to working with businesses who are discovering us and who are understanding what it is we're doing. And you guys are going to see those businesses either become sponsors or become guests in the podcast. You're going to see our growth with companies you've never heard of because they're not from Eastern North Carolina. And again, that is the beauty of social media. We are going to connect with individuals who otherwise would never have heard of what it is we're doing, but they're going to find out and we're going to put our name on the map, letting them know we are the company that is out here with landscape, hardscape, and everything indoors and outdoors. We are doing our absolute best to provide the greatest service to our clients and our community, and we will continue to do so. And during that entire time, I will continue to tell that story. So thank you for listening to another episode in the Landscaping Podcast. Again, I'm Zachary Small, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.